Hey everybody, welcome to another Tuesday live stream. Today we have our very special guest, Zenzo Tazawa of Tazawa's Tanks. We'll see if technology works for us today and you'll be able to hear him and all of that. And I realize that I am quite bright white because there's lots of lights on me to get light to Zenzo back there as well because he's like 8 feet behind me. And he is allowed to talk, he just refuses to talk on camera.
Well, I was letting you do your intro.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
So I will point out we have a new member, Anne, and you guys, well, the members have had a resounding yes, please, more to the Deep in the Mulm podcast. And a lot of you might be going, what is that? We launched another podcast with myself, Zenzo, and Randy, kind of talking business, behind the scenes stuff, what we're doing in our fish rooms, being super nerdy, and we're trying to put that together once a week for you guys in this hour-ish long show that we record and then upload. And yeah.
Did you mention that was for members?
Yeah, members only. And so, yeah, if you like this kind of format but you want more, and maybe you want to see, the vice president of Aquarium Co-op, Randy, he'll be on there, Zenzo will be on there, and the goal is every week. And that's just extra. We're trying to fit it in. We do so many meetings anyway. We thought, let's get one more in. We could probably pull this off. And so we'll be filming another one this week, and we'll be uploading another one this week. So
Yeah, I will say that the feedback from everyone's been great on the Deep in the Mulm podcast. And honestly, we didn't really, we knew what we were doing, but we didn't know what we were doing. We're just kind of just chatting and talking about things. And it was fun. I think it's a good raw look into how we talk about things and how we think about different elements of the fish keeping hobby. And if you're super nerdy like us and a member, then come hang out or come watch, I should say, because it's not a live stream. It's more of a podcast format, right? So
yeah, there's no live audience, and we kind of pick some topics we want to talk about. We get off on tangents, as people have seen so far, but Zenzo's job is to keep us reined in. Someone was asking if there's a 5% discount available at April's Aquarium in Canada. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. Some of our retail partner stores do offer that. Some do not. I will say things are heating up. Someone else asked about, like, hey, 20% China tariffs. That's a big number. So politics staying out of it, I will do a little bit of correction in that China tariffs are actually 45%. They're 20% higher than they were. So yes, tariffs are going to 45%. Does that mean prices are going up? Yes, most likely. We are going to do what we can to offset that, but there's not a lot of moves of like, yeah, the tariff's 45%. We can't switch manufacturing that fast. So things like brine shrimp and, what it really means is with a couple signatures, we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars coming over. $60,000 gets evaporated. Like, oh, there goes profit. And so like, okay, we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to pay an extra 60 grand ahead of time. Hopefully sell it to you guys. And so just know that we're gonna work on that, working on shipping and trying to, look at every piece of the pie and go, is there anything we can save? And I do think there is a change coming. It hasn't happened yet, but we're gonna make our minimum order $19.99 or $20 again, basically. And it's because the data shows, like, we had a customer that ordered just this, and we sent it to them. And after paying shipping and the box and all the charges, we lost $2. So if people don't spend at least $20 with how expensive shipping is and stuff like that these days, we just don't make money. So we're going to try to not do things that knowingly lose us money. And our thought is, hopefully, if you can't afford to spend $20, you have a local partner store, go buy from them, and we won't lose money. And if you can spend $22 or $20 or whatever it is, we'll gladly send it to your home. Like that's one of the things. But by doing that, we'll be able to, start managing some of the costs and things. That's all we can really do is kind of play the same game everyone's playing. So
someone had a funny comment. Zenzo's currently deep in the mulm in the dark corner.
That's right. That's right. And someone asked if that podcast will be on Spotify. No, it'll only be behind this kind of paywall, which I realize some people are like, oh no, and it's like, really, we just have to make money. We have to justify, like, well, why are we taking the three most high up people in the company and making a podcast? Like, well, there has to be a reason for it, and just more entertainment doesn't justify blocking out time like that. And we wanted to create also an extra benefit for all people, whether you're international or you're local member. Like, that's another, besides, Zenzo very active, and he books the speakers, and he gives, like, basically gives up his Saturdays to run that event once a month. So we're trying to just add more and more value to those things. Where is Dean? Dean is currently on a plane to London. So that's why, well, it's not why Dean's not here, but yeah, Dean's getting around doing stuff. Although he did email me, and he wants to redo someone else's fish room local, and wants me to film it, wants me to supply some of the supplies, and so we're working on maybe putting a big project together. But yeah, so he's around. Why are you sitting by a tiny fire, Zenzo?
Is that me?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a magic light bulb.
That's right.
It is literally not as magic as our magic small fish feed.
That's right.
But it is a light bulb.
You are never going to get that. It's such a pain to balance that back on.
Is it?
This guy's a genius. That's why I pay him the big bucks. Yeah.
There you go. Live, one shot. It's a magnetic light bulb. Pretty cool.
All right. Do we have any fish questions? Has there been a shift in your opinion on sponge filter porosity? I believe you were a big proponent of large pores previously, but you were planning to launch a fine sponge filter.
We just talked about this on the Deep in the Mold.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement on this one.
I think people that like to eat pineapple also like fine sponges. I hate pineapple on pizza, and I still love coarse sponges. So this is me going, I hear there are people that like pineapple on pizza. My pizza restaurant will serve that to you. I think it's horrible. But for those that want it, they will be able to get a fine poured sponge when they eventually arrive at 20% more expensive.
I concur.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
In fact, with my 20-something aquariums, I plan on installing 0 fine sponge filters.
I also plan to install 0.
Yeah.
But there are people that prefer it, and we will cater to that. We will cater to that, and hopefully the people that want it will buy it, and it won't be one of those like, I bought a cargo container of fine sponges that I won't use, and other people apparently don't want. But after years and years of people asking, we said, what are some of the easiest ways to make our customers happy? Let's start doing the things they're asking for where we can, and that would be the smoked or black version. That would be the fine poured sponge, and that would be replacement sponges. So we're at 16 SKUs. We're launching all of those in the hope that we will serve your individual needs better. Maybe you're like, oh, I only want green, coarse. I only want fine, black. Maybe you want coarse and black, like you should be. Or I only want to buy fine pour replacement sponges to replace my coarse ones now. Maybe you want to mix and match. All of those things will be options for you.
I like pineapple, but I will pick it off my pizza because I don't want it on my pizza. Doesn't belong. My opinion.
Oh, I'll eat normal. If you just said, like, you want a slice of pineapple, like,
yes,
I will eat a piece of pineapple, but not on my pizza.
Throw it at you.
Yeah.
Someone asked, while you're looking for a question, how would I recommend mud skippers over, like, a community tank, freshwater? I would say freshwater community tank is going to be better for 99.99% of people. And a mud skipper tank is going to be, if you already have a few tanks with different types of species and different setups, and you're looking for something different, it can be fun. But I would pretty much always recommend going with a freshwater tank over a mud skipper tank.
Yeah. I love mud skippers. I have no desire to actually keep them, though. Like, it's work. It's brackish water. You do a lot to keep those little guys, and while cool, not my thing. Um, where was I going with that? Linear air piston pump, central air loop for a fish room. Does it have to be in a loop? What about a straight line or something like that? Or an S shape or the shape of number 3? I personally, I think it's one of those like optimally it's in a loop. Right under optimally is any configuration. I think there's seeing many people do it. I don't think I've really seen a bad setup in whatever way you run it. I think we're running all the way around yours, right?
All the way around. I have
Yeah.
done it in a like a end situation, like a 3 or not connected. And I do have a loop, and I prefer the loop, but I find it's more even with a loop, if
Yeah,
that makes
in
sense.
here we're doing a U shape because I've got like a garage door that has to open. I mean, I guess I could go above it, but I don't have any tanks where it would go to. And I did find that putting the 800 gallon both times where it's been at the end of one of the legs of the U, and I had to install another pump to be able to get air pressure to it. And I suspect maybe I wouldn't have had to if it was in a loop, but I can't prove it. So
Hmm.
for me, I will say PVC pipe has gotten way more expensive. 10 years ago, cheap. Now, not cheap. So if you're on doing it on the cheap, do whatever you need to. If you're like, ah, it's not really working, maybe then you make it the loop. Do you happen to know the PPI on the fine versus the coarse?
I don't.
It might be on our
I
product
can look.
page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to say, oh, I think it's this. Someone remembers that they buy it. Turns out you were 3 PPI off, Corey, and now I'm angry. I can get one I can show you on camera, like I can show you it, but that still won't tell you how many PPI is the fine one. So, um, yeah, okay. So Sid says I found a lot of my sponges don't get enough pressure when it's not in a loop. Yeah, both store no main store in a loop, expansion not in a loop. Yeah, so we are running both, but I think you get a little bit more. You get a little bit more out of the loop, I believe. But rarely do people build enough fish rooms to really test that. And then you're still only like, but is it better than without? I didn't try it.
I can't find it.
How's the Physodon's moss doing? Physodon's doing okay. My coral moss, train wreck, not good. So we have coral moss at the store doing really good. I might just go. So I bought expensive moss off eBay and then found out we could have got it from our wholesalers because I walked in, it was in my store, and I was like, oh, well, I probably should have got it from my own store. Dang it. You know, sometimes that'll happen. I will say, officially today, we are done with our fire alarm system. So it just passed its check. Now we have a call and left a message to hopefully get the general occupancy check done. So if that gets done, Zenzo and I and the team will then set a grand opening date on the expansion and hold an event. But not releasing any of that info until too many times they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll get it done. Just kidding, 6 months.
Hmm.
And so I don't want to be the boy that cried wolf on that. So we're holding off. I will mention I do have an event coming up at April's Aquarium in Canada on the 5th and the 6th, whatever that Saturday and Sunday is. I will be there. I'm going to bring my wife. Don't know if anybody else is coming yet. We're still working out what exactly is going to happen on that day. Usually something fun happens. While I'm thinking about it, you just responded to our schedules for Keystone Clash, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. When is it? It's in September. September 20. So Corey and I will both be speaking on Friday the 25th.
Okay.
Is it 20? No, I'm sorry. Friday the 26th. And
Friday
then we will
26th.
also be doing a panel session on Saturday the 27th.
And I think we just solidified that so they can start posting the times on the website for the Keystone Clash. So relaying that so you guys can plan accordingly. Do I need to get there early? Am I only going one day? What pass am I buying? All those kinds of good things if you're going to be around Pennsylvania. And if not, you should be. If you're not going to be around or Canada, you should be. And yeah, we're just lining stuff up. We've actually reached out to another store that we're considering doing an event at, and trying to build a schedule. So yeah, is Keystone worth your travel? I have no idea. I've never been. The people that go swear it's the best time of their life, but yeah, I haven't been yet, so I can tell you after I go, but don't know. Fish room question. All right, here we go.
All right.
Can you recommend any temperature control mix valves that aren't going to break the bank, but are still quality?
No.
Yours is just a sink. Can you adjust it?
For water?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just adjust it. Doing it so many years, I stick my hand under the faucet. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Or touch water, match it, but there's no. I'm off by two or 3 degrees, but
yeah. And so if you're going to do automatic, you would do. So here's what I know: if you get on the forum and you give me 10 days, I can get you a link to the one that's like $140 and works awesome. It's a very specific one. And the reason why I say it's 10 days is I'm going to be busy with Zenzo every day while he's here. We've got a lot of plans. And then like the weekend or something will hit like, okay, oh yeah, let me chase that down. And it's like $140 because I bought like the $1,500 digital one. Don't like it. Every time the power goes out or blinks, it turns off your system. Got the perfect little one that works. And I run it at home and I run it at the store. And Dean's running it. No, he's not. He ran it before. He's still running his digital one. So, welcome back, Rob P. at the 1-year member mark. Congrats, buddy. And Asaya creeping up on 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are we working on? We're going to be at the store. We're putting in new shelving with new lighting, kind of like the corner store we got. We're building. That was one for here, but also prototyping what we're going to do at the store. So we're going to be working on that. And then we're going to paint 43 aquariums this week. We might start drilling 43 aquariums.
Gonna do some organization and storage.
Yep.
Do some dump runs.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think. I know there's. Oh, we're gonna redo like the Wi-Fi system and all that. Which that's gonna be an after hours thing because you start playing with the internet, you can't run transactions. People can't ring up anymore. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is gonna be before or after hours. So early mornings or late nights, and then hopefully get that final walkthrough done and get that signed off on. And because there's still quite a bit to do between like, hey, you can go in there. We still have to tear down 20 aquariums, cut the piping, fix the threshold so that you could walk between the two. And then we want to backfill and build the whole new aquascaping area and all of that. And so there's a lot of things to put in a row of like, ideally all that be done before you have the grand opening. And so we'll probably do a soft opening of like, oh, I can go over there? Like, yes, but we'll do a big event. Maybe we'll get Dean there. Maybe Zenzo will be there. I'll be there for sure. Katie will probably be there, my wife, Dorcula. And, we'll figure out what is it we're actually doing, and you'll get the full meal deal. But until then, we have steps that we can do after we get occupancy, because we can't let people walk in or tear stuff down and build stuff in the store until that is, had we done that a year ago, we'd be sitting minus 20 tanks for a year. So really want the full go ahead on that.
There's a lot of brackish questions, and
See,
some of them are.
This is why I don't let you on the screen. This is horrible.
Well, but some of them
Fresh
are live.
water's the best water. You notice Zenzo's not wearing that shirt? Mm-hmm.
I have it, but to be fair, they're asking about like live bears. Like someone said, they even saw mollies in a store that were in a full saltwater tank. They're asking about like rainbows and things like that in brackish water. So I know you're big into those kind of fish.
There are some rainbows like the neon blue ones
Mm-hmm.
that can go brackish. The problem is I don't speak to brackish because I don't feel I'm even close to an expert on it. But I'm not sure I've ever met anyone I consider to be close to an expert, because everyone that's an expert, you're like, oh, you've had a tank and a half of saltwater or a brackish, like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, Zenzo, list all the plants that are brackish water tolerant, and you're like, well, I can tell you what I've grown, but also, if people bought them from us and they don't live, like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of, I live in fear of that. So that's why I like, yeah, brackish. Yeah. Because then it's like, well, how brackish are we talking?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
because brackish can be very salty to barely salty, right? And in those environments, it changes every day with the tides and with river flows and things like that. So, um, yeah.
yeah.
But to the question about mollies, yes, I have also seen mollies in full-on reef tanks before.
In fact, Danny's Aquariums has mollies in his like tropical island oasis tank.
Uh,
Yeah. So he's been playing around with that.
he's
And
got some nice displays.
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Brine shrimp eggs kept refrigerated for over 2 years. I took a break. Is it normal to get 90 plus hatch rate? Co-op eggs are amazing. I don't know if that's normal. I got to be honest. For me, no matter whose eggs I use, whether it was ours or other companies over the last 2 decades, pretty much if I kept them in the freezer, they just work the same. Like I didn't
Hmm.
know, I didn't see like, oh, every month they're getting worse. I would see that if I just let them sit in the fish room, or maybe they got a little moist, but you know, I do think our eggs are the best, but I want to make sure that I'm not putting down other eggs, because I think kind of all eggs are kind of pretty good over time. Now you might go, hey, these were hatching at 80, and then 2 years later they still hatch at 80. Like, yeah, probably, or they hatch at 78 percent. But yeah, I mean, I like that you like our eggs. I'm appreciative of that, but I want to make sure I'm not going out of my way to be like, well, that's only because ours are the best. Like, well, there are some real bad eggs out there, but a lot of the major brands aren't bad. They're just not, in my opinion, not as good as ours, which it's my job to say ours are the best. Zenzo, I really enjoyed the recent video. Would love to see more frequent videos from you if possible.
Yes.
Yeah, get on it.
Well, I will say that I did make a commitment this year to do at least one video per month. So I know that 2024, I went for like 7 or 8 months with no video. I was kind of taking a break. And which, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced, like when you do something for a long time and you've talked about African cichlids or mudskippers for 40 times, you kind of get tired of it and need a little break. But yeah, I will say that when I redid my fish room after Corey and I were talking, and he kind of gave me the idea about putting in a real desk down there and spending more time down there for work. I've spent more time down there in the past 3 weeks than I have like in the past 6 months. So it has been great to be down there. Tanks are looking better. I'm having fun. And yeah, I do plan on making more videos. So at least once a month, I'll be making a video. So so far, I'm 2 for 2. And we just started March. So I've got a few days to
Yeah.
figure out a topic. But appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, a bunch of memberships donated by Fish Tank Mike.
All right.
Fish Tank Barn.
Fish Tank
His name's
Barn.
Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
And Josh Etheridge with 10 memberships. And again, I think we're leaning into memberships a little bit more and more, just because YouTube is getting real weird. Like I've had to stop. We don't serve any ads now on live streams, because they're only giving you the option of 0 or 47 ads for the 2 hours. That's the only options I get. And I'm not going to spam you guys to death with 47. But if we can't monetize some of the things we're doing, like revenue is going down, and that is not good for us. So it's like, okay, well, we got to pivot a little bit. And then also, if I post a general like community post, no one sees it. If I do it members, everybody sees it. So unfortunately, as we have to bob and weave through platforms, we have to put a little bit of focus here and there and do different things. So just know that more attention is back on the memberships out of necessity and wanting to also. Like we're trying to make a dedicated effort. So
Zenzo was like my coolie loaches, always happy to see.
yep, you're like my coolie loach, Zenzo. Do you have release date on the Black Easy Flow sponge filters? I think the timeline, and this is always,
It's always fluid.
so like we had a container sit in LA for a month after it made it to America. So we don't get to control that. And so right now, roughly slated, like I think it's May? Maybe? So
May?
yeah, because it's not on the same container as like
I thought it was after May.
it might be. I know we have 4 or 5 containers at the moment, and each one you have to put deposits down, and they get manufactured, then they start hitting water, and tariffs are going up. All I know is all the money I've ever had is wrapped up in
Exploding.
product that is slowly making its way to us and needs to get here like yesterday. So, sooner the better, as Randy would say from the Deep Mullen podcast. We've never been closer
Never
to
been
having
closer.
what you want. Yeah. So if I pay for premium YouTube, do you still get the benefit even if you don't run ads? No, I get nothing. So I've been dealing with them for Zenzo is in on this because he meets with the YouTube team and stuff with me. I've been battling them, I think, for a year on this live stream issue of like, yeah, the ads, there's something wrong here, and we're still back at we're gonna have our engineers look into that, and I don't know if that's code for like, yeah, we wanted to serve 47 ads, or like, oh, it's broken and we don't know. Actually, I don't know, but because I could. You guys complain, and I would too. Like, and that's what we always ask ourselves: would we put up with this? And I say, no, I would not. I do have premium, so I wouldn't do that. But if I didn't have premium, like one of Zenzo's accounts doesn't have premium, it's just too much. And so we, yes, you guys buy from us in memberships. Great way to support us, by the way. That's the way I prefer. If you guys support us by buying lots of stuff from us when you need it, and you're a member, that is kind of the best way to support us, honestly. And if we had enough support going, I would never serve ads. I just wouldn't. But YouTube also wants you to serve ads. So by not spamming you guys with ads, our live streams are getting less views, which is counterintuitive. But I like to reward the people that have been around for a long time, and I don't feel like you should have to watch an ad every 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So yeah, we're not making money off your premium. The videos we run ads in those sparingly, and those do get paid, and you will be paying us for that. We appreciate that. And I will say, I did learn the other day that if you are a member of the channel, you do get served less ads. So even if you don't have premium, but you are a member, it has a line that says members are served less ads. So there is some benefit, which I really feel like it should be members get no ads, but
Yeah.
they're
Instead
not
of 47, you get 45.
Yeah. I don't know what the tangible difference is, but I really, that's always my number one feature is members get no ads on my channel. And the second feature I ask for is, can I give memberships to specific people, like people in my company? And then I ask, where's year 6 and 7 on the badges when it comes to memberships? And then I ask, are you ever actually going to fix the ability to have the screen off and watch or download member stuff? And then they just go like, yeah, get this guy off the call. This guy's like putting us on blast, all the stuff we're doing wrong and not highlighting the stuff we're doing right. And so we will hope that, that it works. It makes it very hard to watch any of the old live streams. They have dozens and dozens of ads. Good to know, by the way. I did not know that. I was operating under the assumption that we didn't have this problem like for the last 9 years. But if it is broken in the same way and force feeding ads, to on all of the live streams, that would make a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And I need to go in and turn off all the ads on all of the live streams. And so I'll probably do some auditing. Pick one from 4 years ago in an incognito window, click the play button, and be like, is it spamming me with ads? Lose it all. And the problem is, if we go into the catalog and do that, that probably costs us $500 to $1,000 a month of like, well, but I would rather you guys be able to watch it than feel like it's unbearable. It's a hard balance we're trying to, like, we need you guys to support us in some way meaningful. We'll try to entertain you, and everybody wants to participate in a different way. Some people are like, oh, I'd rather you just get the ad revenue and it costs me nothing. Some people would rather have YouTube Premium. Some people would rather be a member. Some people would rather just buy stuff from us and support that way. And so the more options we can give, the more likely you can feel as you're participating. That's my view. So, yeah. How's the shrimp tanks coming along with new shrimps? Yeah, I brought some pea puffers home to help eradicate some more snails. And then I got some Anubias donated from a longtime friend at the store, and it had some duckweed. So now I got to run a round of goldfish through there to get that out. Then I could move a shrimp in there, but I did bring home some crystal shrimp also. So I'm kind of all shrimp all the time. I mean, I've got live bears and stuff too, but I really want to play with some more shrimp. So gearing up. That's what I'm doing to reveal the 800-gallon. What would be the worst shrimp I could reveal? The 800-gallon ghost shrimp.
Ghost
tank.
shrimp.
Yeah, we're going ghost shrimp.
No, we're doing 800-gallon brackish amount of shrimp.
That would be too cool because they might breed. We're going 800-gallon brackish ghost shrimp on white substrate so you can't see them with no decoration. Yeah, and one little blue spotlight. That's it. Yeah. Used the free trial for premium, and man, it was nice not having ads. I haven't had ads in probably 10 years, and it's easier, right? Because YouTube pays me, so then I pay YouTube. But I do strongly believe that if I was someone who didn't get it for free, or I mean, I do pay, didn't get paid from YouTube, I would still buy it. Just like I do pay for Netflix and other stuff. I don't like ads. I like to spend my time watching the thing I want to watch. And yeah, the one thing I will say is I do love the family feature about it. Like for a while, I was able to give Zenzo some of it, and I gave Randy some of it. But now it's like me, my wife.
I'm still on it.
Oh, are you still on it? Okay.
Yeah. With my one that's attached to, my Zenzo one.
We can swap that if you ever need to, but.
Yeah, so I end up because I have multiple accounts, and if I mistakenly watch a video or click on something like from a Google search and it defaults to one account, I'm like, immediately stop, go to the other channel, and watch it with no commercials. I'm to the point where if something's on TV, I won't watch it until it's recorded so I can fast forward to the commercials.
Yeah.
I do not want to watch commercials.
Yeah, and I think premium's like, well, they're playing with the prices, but it's like $20 or $22, and you basically can have 4 people on it. So you, your spouse, maybe kids, maybe family members, and maybe you could split it with like a friend or whatever. And so I it's like the old Netflix where it's like, oh, a bunch of people are using the same Netflix account. At least it works that way for now. I'm sure someday they'll be like, hey, you can't share it anymore. They got to live in your house or something. But get while the getting's good.
Yeah, I think Randy and I are on.
Yeah, I try to, because my wife and I use it, and then I'm like, well, I have no reason not to share it. Like, get more people on it. Jason, a new member, gifted a membership. I love to see that. The gift train. Maybe you bought one, or maybe you got gifted one. And you passed it on. Love to see it. I will say that we haven't done it yet. So as far as tariffs go, we're not implementing any higher prices until we see that we actually had to pay a higher price. The first thing that will probably hit us is Tropica plants, which is tissue culture, and some of our Anubias from them. That could be as soon as this week, and we paying 25% more. We'll have to up the price on some of them. Well, most of them, to be honest. And we're gonna see what we can do. Like, oh, but yeah, we just have to. We can't basically make even less money. Like, we already need to make more money to remain doing what we're doing. So we can't make less of it. So yeah, there might be a time where you could like, oh, I could buy it from your competitor, Corey. Like, they haven't raised their prices yet. Yeah, probably for a week or two, and then they'll catch up as well. So, what's your favorite schooling fish for a 15-gallon planted tank?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
You know what? The green neons would look pretty cool, I feel like.
How many would you do?
I would do in a 15-gallon planted tank. I'd do at least like 8 or 10 of them. I think that would look good. And I try to get like a little bit like a top-down view on them if I could. So yeah, you get that nice kind of green from the top. I think that would look good. Uh,
I
yeah,
go
I'm
chili,
going.
chili raspbora or Celestial Pearl Danios, which is what everyone always recommends, and I always think they look dope.
They do look
And
dope.
yet I keep none of them. I really want to. The problem is I'm not breeding either of them, and if I'm not I think all of my tanks, or almost all my tanks, the goal is that they're also making fish that I can share with the hobby.
Yeah.
Whether it's through my store or friends, and I almost feel like when I'm not, like this tank doesn't, behind me, it's almost like, oh, it's kind of a waste to me. Like I could be though. Like I could put a live bear in there, or I could do shrimp, or I could do, and so I always feel like I want to be making more.
Speaking of CPDs, how small are their fry? Because someone asked earlier in the beginning of the chat about feeding CPDs.
I've heard people are raising them up on the Magic Small Fish feed.
Okay.
They are really small, but they're not as. The problem when you start talking about that is like, if I was in person, I'd be like, well, what have you bred before? Like, have you bred rainbows? Like, they're bigger than rainbow fry. And then you're like, no, I haven't. Like, well, then you don't understand that. Okay, what have you bred? You're like, oh, you made a guppy. Like, well, they're 1/1000th the size of a guppy. Like, they are going to be tiny compared to that. So it gets pretty hard, but, they're not, they're not necessarily, they don't have to eat only like rotifers, and they can at least get, brine shrimp and stuff usually. But it's nice to have, moss and stuff for them to graze on in that tank, in addition to what you're, trying to get them onto. Lumpy Dog's in the house. Been a little while. Yeah.
Zenzo from the Peanut Gallery.
Yeah. From downtown. I need like an NBA Jams, like just all kinds of.
Oh yeah, some audio.
He's on fire from downtown. Yeah, until I get new glasses, all fry are invisible. That's a fair statement. Yeah, that is a fair statement. As I get older, apparently fry are getting smaller. Yeah. Do I keep guppies with my rosy barbs, and are they fin nippers? I am keeping them together. They have not nipped any fins, but I only have 140-gallon worth of evidence. So that doesn't mean that it won't be a bloodbath at your house or the next 40-gallon I try. But for right now, it's been going on for over a month, and they're even the short fin. They're neons, so they're not even like long fin to slow them down. So far, going okay. They definitely are eating babies. They're eating babies left and right. Like, there's no fry in that tank, but yeah, no damage. How much is a membership? If you go through not an iPhone device or Safari, it's $4.99. If you go through your iPhone or Safari, you'll get the Apple tax, and it'll be like $6.99 or something. So use Chrome or Mozilla or any Android device or a computer or a laptop, but not in Safari and not through the app.
Safari 3 Max works though.
I think Safari on Mac does. I think it's still more expensive.
Is it? I thought that's how
For
I
sure,
did it.
not the app. I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
Yes, but the correct price, if you're doing it correctly, $4.99 plus tax if that applies to your state. So you will save a little bit of money if you don't go through the iPhone app. The correct price will be $4.99. So yeah, if you're paying more than that, you can always cancel it and resubscribe in a different browser. So some people are afraid, like, oh, I've been here for 2 years. Am I going to lose it? Like, nope. You just cancel and subscribe over there, and then you'll just pay $4.99.
Julian's Fish Shed said the price is normal if you're using Safari, I assume via Mac.
Okay.
So desktop, but
Good.
not the mobile. Mobile, they will charge you.
Oh, okay then.
Well, I don't know about Safari mobile, but mobile through the app, they will charge you.
The app,
yes.
100% they will. 100% I know that. Yeah. If you're paying more than $4.99 US dollars, because you could be in a different country, right?
Cancel it.
Then yeah, you're not getting the right price or whatever you want to call that. So, welcome to Veston. Yes,
welcome to the club.
That's right. Are the longfin cherry barbs in your tank behind you? No, those are longfin rosy barbs. I do love longfin cherry barbs also, but they don't eat algae, so I do love the algae eating aspect of the rosy barbs.
And they look so good too.
They do look good.
Yeah.
They got nothing on that one pair I got off the forum, which we're working on all kinds of stuff. I know I keep talking about the forum also. There is a buy, sell, and trade for fish on the forum that people are using a little bit more and more and more. And I highly recommend, get involved in that community. And as the weather heats up, lots of cool stuff ends up on there. That's how I got people like, where'd you get those rosy barbs? Our forum. Mm-hmm. Where could I get those? Our forum. Yeah.
Forum is pretty cool. It is. You learn a lot. You can share. You can teach.
Yeah. Rob donating 5 members. Thank you so much. Been around for 6 months. Thank you. I thought I read something that I was going to chime in on. Oh, will tariffs affect the membership? Shouldn't. Should have no effect on that. At least so far. Hopefully it stays that way. Yeah. Who knows? From day to day stuff changes. So I literally in business, we have so many meetings and we usually end with you just got to take it day by day. It could get postponed, could happen tomorrow, a thing could change. We've done this for the last, 12 years I've been running this business. My North Star is work as hard as I can, be as fair as I can, and do the best job. And if it's not good enough, well, I won't be able to say I should have tried harder. And if it is good enough, great, it should work. So that's my ethos there. So one day at a time.
Well, today's Tuesday, and I feel like this week we've already talked about tariffs in meetings 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Easily. And when deep in the mole,
because the easy answer is just charge you guys 20% more. That's the easy answer. But I want to make sure I've done everything I can to maybe not have to charge you all of that. And if I do, I want to make sure I looked at every angle, everybody. I couldn't find a way. And so that way I can look at you guys and go, I've done everything I can to keep the price as low as I can while us staying in business and all of that. Yeah. I paid $5.29 for my membership. Should I cancel and sign back up? Nope, that's probably just tax on that. So $5.29 probably is $4.99 plus your local tax rate. So wouldn't worry too much about that. Ooh, here we're gonna get Zenzo on the hobby rabbit hole here.
What's that?
What hobbies do you have besides aquariums, working out, and wearing tight t-shirts?
Oh, I like my tight t-shirts. What hobbies?
Yeah.
Besides working out, motorcycles and mountain biking.
Do you do any photography? Or is it
and
all
photography?
You do. You do.
I mean, when I have the time, I do enjoy breaking out the camera, and if I'm going to a family event or some kind of performance, so it's oh Zenzo, can you bring a camera and take pictures? And they always turn out great. Not that I'm a great photographer, but they come out much better than someone taking pictures of an event with an iPhone. So my stepdaughter who just graduated college. She was on the dance team and did dance, and so I'd take photos of the performances. And when you're using the right lens and the right shutter speed and the right frame rate and everything, you can capture every like you'll like scroll through the photos and it's literally a video, which is what a video is. There are a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of different photos, and so you can say, oh, I like that shot, I like that shot, and then you take a bunch of shots. And there's like 50 photos. So yeah, I do like photography, but motorcycles, bicycles, I like two wheels, um, eating. Yeah.
Well, kind of go along with that a little bit. Two, several different people have asked, but one was, do you work out while you're here? And then
hmm
another question was, how many days a week do you work out on average if you're at home?
So when I work, no, I don't work out here. One, a lot of the work that we're doing is working out. Like I'm moving my body, whether it's like when we did the 800 gallon, like that, I was wrecked. Like the substrate, buckets of substrate, and all those kind of things. But oftentimes, like when I'm up here, I like to just give my body a rest. And so for me, like working out, like lifting heavy weights, like plus I'm older, so like your joints take a beating, and
Yeah, now that
obviously
you're
you're
72 now.
yes. Now that I'm 72, I look great for 72. But so I like to take a break. So taking off 4 or 5 days from working out is fine. And then typically at home, I'll probably work out like 5 out of 7 days on average. Sometimes it's four, sometimes it's six. Um, it just depends, and it also depends like how many weeks in a row I've been home. So if I'm home for like 5 or 6 weeks straight, and I know like I'm not going to take a week off when I'm at Corey's or something, then I might do like 4 days in a week, and maybe one day I'm mountain bike riding or something. So I guess that's still kind of working out. But I also, as I've gotten older, and I was actually having a conversation with a person at the gym, is I shorten my workouts. So maybe in the
Hmm.
past when I was in my 30s, I might work out for an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half of like heavy weightlifting. And now like I'm down to like 50 minutes. And basically like from the time I walk in the gym to the time I leave is like an hour or less. And I feel that's a good amount to kind of keep my body healthy. Then I can do it the next day. I'm still getting, either maintaining or growing where I need to. And yeah,
I'm guessing that's like pretty solid workout, not like, well, I got lost my phone for 20 minutes. Like it's
right.
50
Yes.
minutes of rest just enough between
Just
this
enough between
exercise to the
sets.
next one.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. I was doing that with my personal trainer where it's like, well, let's try a session and a half. And I was just putting more time in between. And I was like, I'm not really getting more stuff done.
Yeah. You're just
And then we went back down to 50-minute sessions. It's like, if you just stay on it, you get the same amount of stuff done.
yeah.
And I have more time in my day then.
It's also why I like to work out alone at the gym. So 90% of the time I lift alone. And then like every occasional Saturday, my buddies meet up with me. We'll work out together. But when you work out together, you're more chit-chatty and all that kind of stuff. So if I work out alone, I can get in, get out, go about my day, do the things I want to do. And yeah.
Yeah. Tammy had asked about the floating 3D printed fry thing that I was using, and there is some links to it on the forum in the 3D/DIY part of the forum. You can also just talk to Lowell, who invented the thing or worked on it. I think he invented it. And to get it, you either A, buy it from him on Etsy, B, you subscribe to his Patreon for like a month, which is $5, and you can have the 3D printed file, the latest one with all the tweaks, and you can print as many as you want out of there. Or, yeah, those are like the main two ways to get it. I don't have it like officially hosted because he owns the file, and he put a lot of work with Dean and other people to make it great, and I just get the benefit of using it. And he deserves $5 for that kind of work. We could make 100 of them if you want, as long as you don't sell them. Like you can make as many as you want for $5. I feel like that's a great thing to have in this hobby, where you'll make this rad thing, and I gotta pay you $5 once, and I could print 100 of these for my store or my fish room or any of that. So
That will be my new hobby, 3D printing.
yeah, as Zenzo hangs out more and more,
Oh,
and he feeds
man.
me. We're going. You know what we need? I go, hold on, it's in the making right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think it's the biggest piece of technology since the smartphone, which is a giant bold claim, but weekly I am flabbergasted. Like, this is insane what you can do with these.
It
And it's
is.
only getting better.
Like even like we were like, oh, like so let's say I have a meeting early in the morning and I come out here and it's dark, and so I need to turn on the lights. So we set up one of an old iPhone to be able to be the switch for the Casa timers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how are we going to mount this? Oh, let me 3D print a phone mount.
Yeah, I just Googled it.
30 minutes later,
yeah.
it's on the wall. Like
And
it's
done.
It's crazy. How...
It replaces so many of the, oh, I'm gonna look on Amazon. Ooh, that thing's $8. I'll order
Right.
it. It'll be here in 2 days. It replaces that stuff. It doesn't replace a car. It
Right.
just replaces like, oh, that doodad that's under $10. I now can make doodads.
For like 30 cents
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
material. Minus the cost of the printer.
$1,000 for the printer,
Right.
and then 30 cents per
Yes.
thing. So you definitely got to make a lot of little doodads. But
Sure.
at scale, it's a great
Yes.
doodad maker. At if you're only printing 2 doodads, it's a $500 doodad. Not a good return. So, yeah. Am I purposely advertising the forum for SEO purposes? No. In fact, that is zero of the effort I do. Meaning that I was looking at other platforms to host the forum on that would have no SEO. My biggest goal is to get away from social media where people are argumentative and then you catch stray bullets, basically, of like, I just got done arguing with my Uncle Larry for an hour, and now someone's talking about fish, and I'm still angry. You at least have to make a dedicated decision like, oh, I'm going to go see what's up in the fish world. And then you're decompressing, and you're just having a normal conversation, talking about how big are celestial pearl Daniel fry? Do you have a picture? Where's that link to 3D print this thing? And you're not, so it's not like, ooh, cool fish thing, highly charged political thing, cool fish thing, Unilad video that has no relevance on your life, cool fish thing, random other person you talked to once 7 years ago and friended them. And yeah, so it's mostly that for me. And I'm doing it for me because that's what I want. And then if you guys hang out there, my experience gets better. And then a lot of you guys are having a good time too. So, do I have any suggestions for a water change system that you don't drill the tank? I do not. There are, you can make them out of PVC. And, if you have a room with 30 tanks, once or twice a year, one will fail and you'll flood. And you might go, I can't do that. I am the guy that will, I want to do the least amount of inconvenience. And I hate drilling tanks. And yet, I drill every single one of them. Because there's even that's not 100% fail-proof, but it's like 99% fail-proof. And,
as they say, no matter the project, big or small, do it right or not at all.
That's right. Thank you, Father Zenzo. Zenzo's not actually 72, by the way.
No, I'm 84.
That's right. Yeah, I've officially made visiting the forum a habit. Yeah, you can make it an icon on your home screen, and that really helps. And I've been making little tutorials on how to do all these little things to build it more in, because you do have to make a conscious choice. You have to say, I want to go visit this, and not just, oh, I'll do it someday, because you won't. You have to go, hey, I want to replace some of my mindless scrolling nonstop with purposed scrolling that will have an end. Oh, there was only 50 posts today, and I read through most of them, and okay, I'm going to go play with my fish, or I'm going to go be with my kid or my wife, or I'm going to go in the garden, or I'm going to go do something in life, and that I find that to be beneficial to me. How would I know which 3D printer to buy? You'd hang out in the nerd groups and they would fight all day long. To me, as an outsider that just wants to print stuff, I view it very much like Android versus Apple, and you have two camps that will fight you to the death on how the other one is terrible. And I will say, are you an Android person? Okay, then you're going to buy a Prusa printer, basically. And then if you're an Apple person, you're going to buy a Bamboo Labs printer. And for the most part, it will align with who you are as a person. It just will. And there's, subtleties in there, but the reality is I have now spent way too much money buying filament dryers and AMS systems so I can do multiple colors. And I had two printers. I had one of each, an Android basically, and a Bamboo Labs. And I've got to what I like and what I would recommend to my friends and family. And you could do the same. If you have, I've got a neighbor who loves this and they're willing to help you, just do what they're doing because they're going to make sure you can't fail. But I like the fact that I can start a print from my phone. I can look at what's printing right now from my phone. I've got all these good things. Um, I've got all those good things going on my phone, which the other one doesn't have. Can we post a website for Lowell? We'd have to find the Etsy link. He doesn't have a website. He's got a Patreon, and I'd have to dig for it. If you just go to his website, we could post the video. I could probably find that in the next 20 seconds.
Yeah, Lowell's Fish Lab,
yeah.
Who will actually be a speaker.
That's right. He will be a speaker. I wonder if we could...
Coming up.
I wonder if we could incentivize him to, like, the day of the talk, give a discount or, like, give out the file once as, like, a thing. Maybe we could do that. I don't know. But I'm going to find the video where you can get it today and pay, and it probably has a link to Etsy or his Patreon to buy. And there's a whole long video. It's 10 minutes. Well, I guess it's only 10 minutes long, but it's got 28,000 views. I will share that right now in the live stream so that you can kind of watch that after the fact and figure out, how do I want to get one of these into my hands? All right. Why are paradise fish not popular anymore, Zenzo?
Paradise fish, why are they not popular?
Yeah.
I mean, they are kind of aggressive, right? So I think that I think you have to look at paradise fish like you would look at a betta or a gourami, where they can be more aggressive, also very beautiful. They are hardier than bettas, I would say, for most situations. Like, you could keep them outside and all that kind of stuff if you live in a temperate climate. I don't know. I honestly think they're amazing to look at. I think that they would make great wet pets for a lot of people, but you kind of have to be careful with what you keep them in because they're going to kill other things potentially. Yeah. I don't know.
I think they don't have the color morphs that we want. And what I mean by that is, like, there's the Dark Knight Ram one, or not Ram, but Dark Knight one. Mm-hmm. There's like kind of a reddish one.
Like bettas, you can have multiple.
Yeah, but you will see some people that have some really, really good strains, like they've been breeding them for a while. And if you get your hands on that, I think they would sell well, but I usually only see that in other countries. So if we, like these rosy barbs that I bought, if they all look that good, they would sell better. Like, these ones look pretty good, but not as good as that. And so half of it is just like, if they're in favor, you will see more good ones. If you don't, then no one's selling them.
Yeah. When did I last have? It's been 7 or 8 years since I've had some. I got some from Carlos.
Yeah.
6 or 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
We've done some fish tours of his place.
Yeah.
30-inch deep aquarium, 36-gallon, best light for the money. It depends on what your preferences are. I would say with a tank that deep, I assuming it's a planted tank, right? I don't know, but I would probably buy a Cheerios or a Chihiro's light.
Cheerios.
Like, I have this one down a ton, but it's only 24 inches tall. You'd be another 6 inches tall. You could easily sway me, like, what about a flue ball light? Corey, you like those? Like, yeah, I like those a lot too. You know, you could say, oh, the Aquarium Co-op light's available at a partner store. I'd be like, I like those too. You could say, oh, I'm on a super budget. What about this Phoenix light? Like, yeah, it'll probably do it too. Most lights will provide light.
Yeah.
It's like, what, I want it more blue. I want it more white. I want it more red. I want it more this. I want it to do that. I want it to be waterproof. I want it to be cheap. I want it to do this. No light's going to be cheap, waterproof, best light, all the things. Like, you have to, like, what features are you really passionate about? Mm-hmm. Maybe you need sunset and sunrise. Maybe you need to be able to control it while you're on a plane. Maybe you need the catch jumping on. It's got to be waterproof. Maybe it can't add too much heat to your aquarium because it's already so hot. You got to go, these are the features that I'm really interested in, and then try and find lights that are more to that.
Yeah, and I think lighting is very subjective as far as, like you were saying, like, what, not only what do you need, but, what look are you going for? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sad that we don't have the coop lights anymore. I love the Aquarium Co-op lights on some of my tanks. But on some of my tanks, I purposely chose a different light
How dare you?
because of the aesthetic. Well, African cichlids, right?
Yep.
So, but it really depends, right? And so, I think it's a personal choice. It's like some people like 3-to-1 peanut butter to jam. Some people like 2-to-1 peanut butter to jam, right? So I'm a
Yeah.
2-to-1. You're a 3-to-1, I think.
Let's see here. What's your goal in your fish room in your aquariums this year, Zenzo?
My goal, uh, my goal in my fish room is to enjoy it. Like that is really like you have this space. It looks great, sound, the temperature, everything. I just want to enjoy it like I was enjoying it before, and being down there again is allowing me to do that.
What?
Um,
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
yeah, and then goals for fish tanks, like I don't to have them all look better, like to not have them all look like 60%. Like
Sure.
and I know you can empathize with this. Is like they look good from 10 feet away, but from 10
Mm-hmm.
inches away, they're like, oh, this looks terrible. And so I would like to all have them, let's say at 90% instead of 60%, meaning the glass is cleaner. I've kept up on algae, maybe trimming plants or planting plants or whatever the thing is, just making sure that I'm getting what I need out of each tank. And if that tank is not bringing me joy, I'm gonna change it or get rid of it, and to just enjoy my fish room more.
And
And then,
then I'll follow up with,
yeah,
because my talk at the Keystone Clash is actually titled "How to Make the fish keeping hobby your lifelong hobby and avoid burnout."
hmm
I've burned out several times. I've watched other people burn out several times, and I think I've kind of got it figured out now on what is causing it. But my question to you is, why did you, I would say, almost avoid the fish room or lose touch with the fish room? And you might not know, but like, do you have any idea why you got that way? And then now you're like, we know why you're back now. You're like, oh, because I'm around it more. But why
yeah,
were you like, oh, it was just kind of a back burner thing?
yeah. I think part of it, to be honest, was just the general change of how I was spending my time because we remodeled that in
Mm-hmm.
February of 2020.
Okay.
A month later, I couldn't leave my house, and I'm getting groceries delivered to my
I didn't
doorstep.
realize that was the timeline. We just happened to do that the month before COVID.
Yeah. And then, so like literally 8 weeks later, we're wiping our grocery bags down with Clorox wipes because we didn't know what the heck's going on. So
Sure.
at that time, I was like, yes, it's an amazing space. I'm down here, I'm hanging out. And then, things change. I'm kind of outside doing hobbies again, kind of like how summertime happens with a lot of people. But then also, I think another part of it is when you have something that doesn't change and it's the same thing over and over and over, then it in some cases it kind of loses its luster.
Mm-hmm.
And I experience this with lots of things. Like I could say my car, like people look at my car like, oh, I love your car. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I drive it like 500 miles a year, like it just kind of sits there.
Yeah,
But
he's got a rad 1970 Pinto.
so, but I think with the fish tanks, like um, if you're not like breeding fish or trying different things, and it's the same tank with the same fish and the same decor, even if it's beautiful, after a while, maybe you might kind of forget like why you liked it, and so as I'm down there and playing around, I'm either reminded why I love a tank, or I realize like, yeah, I don't really like this tank, and I'm gonna change it. Or like, wow, these fish are breeding for me, and this never happened. I never noticed this before. So, yeah, I think it's just like with anything. Like after a while, like no matter how fancy and flashy and beautiful it is, you might start to like get bored of it.
All right, that I think that's a pretty good fair answer. We've got some gifted memberships. I want to shout out Tattoo Mike and Casey and Bill Anderson for pitching in. Uh, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. We've got a couple member super chatty things. It's tubbin time, located in Central Texas. Got a 40-gallon tote. What recommendation of species can overwinter and handle 110 Texas temps? I don't know. I haven't had to deal with 110 Texas temps. So
That seems harder than
it kind
110
of does seem harder.
versus like 40.
I would get a shade like a patio.
Shade cloth,
Oh, yeah, but what do you it's like patio
umbrella.
yeah, umbrella. I would get
Uh-huh.
an umbrella, and then if you can get that tote in the ground, it will insulate it from the heat and the cold a lot more. And then I would probably do like cherry shrimp. I bet you will tolerate it. Or I would just pick a live bear or rosy barbs are pretty hardy. I would just pick the most thing I would do is pick something you're like, I would love to have 1,000 of these things. And if you can say I would love that, not that it would make me a bunch of money at the store, but if you said I would love to have a big number of these, that's what you put in that bin. So if you're successful, you're stoked, not like, oh, I made a lot of this kind of a headache. Oops. Yeah.
And if it's going to be year round, having something like live bears that are going to make more is good because you're going to lose some to predation, whether it's birds or raccoons or whatever, depending on where you live.
Yeah. Someone's asking if the community posts from YouTube are gone. I don't see them anymore. Yes, I have turned them off because the general public realized, oh, I can just advertise my channel and my business and spam that. And so way too many posts were like, hey guys, I'm almost at 400 subscribers. Come join my channel. And not as much like, hey, I've got a problem, I need help. And so kind of redirecting people to the forum, and I gave my feedback to YouTube on, hey, you got to do something, because even like the Creator Insiders channel, they're just getting spammed nonstop with like, hey, come subscribe to my channel. It's like, that's not a community. That is not that. I don't know what to call it, but it's not community. And like, I'm all about community, and the minute it's community, I'm on board. This is not community. So yeah, we need some better settings or some better anti-spam thing, whatever. However they're gonna harness that or prevent that. Don't know, but it's off until they can do that better, because it was just tying up customer service and me, and it's like, ah, jeepers. I don't have time to tell people, hey, this isn't just shouting into the crowd. Follow me, follow me. Yeah. Let's see. Anyone heard of panda loaches? I believe they're a Chinese fish, not the pandagara. Yeah, the panda loach, black and white striped fish, looks different once it grows up. I haven't bought a ton in the last couple years. I don't know if we've gotten them hardy yet. And what I mean by that is, you'd see lots of losses when you try to import them and bring them into the country and get them into your fish store. I don't know if we figured out the secret sauce to like, oh yeah, they just do great now. Sometimes it takes a few years to go like, oh yeah, you do this move, they're golden.
They like brackish water.
Panda loaches? Oh, I was like, really? I thought they were real soft water. Like, wow, that explains a lot. Yeah.
Back here trolling.
Yeah. How do you cool your tanks if you don't have central air? Gonna be difficult. You do a bunch of frozen water bottles that are really intensive work. That's one way. Leaving your tops open will reduce the temp by a couple degrees, and then blowing fans across, evaporative cooling them, and then you got to top them off, a lot of water. But yeah. Leaving lights off, and just like everything can make heat to heat up a tank, well, anything you can turn off, like run less, like a canister filter or hang on back makes heat. An air pump makes heat also, but it could be in an outside room, and then the sponge filter itself doesn't transfer much heat from the air, and then the lights getting spaces or having them on less. All of these things will lead to producing less heat, so you're fighting heat less.
I mean, there's always a chiller, but then you're adding.
Yeah, well, if you have one tank,
and-
sure, a chiller. If you like, I got 11 tanks, like, well, you probably don't have 11 grand or whatever to put in, and the electrical work you're gonna need for all those chillers. So trying just to manage overall your temps in your house. It all depends. You're gonna be there for the rest of your life. Plant some giant trees. They'll start shading your house, and put way more insulation in your attic, and follow through all of those steps. But then you might be
bigger tanks too, depending on the heat. So if it's like a short heat wave, like the bigger the tank, the more body of water, it's less likely to fluctuate, or doesn't fluctuate as quickly.
Yep. Oh, I know. I've got some tips. If you watch the old fish room videos, I had to deal with that. And part of what I would do is I'd get the I call them the two-way fans. One like blows in and one pulls out or whatever, and you kind of like shut them into a window. And I would set those at temperatures. So, if it's X amount, it'll blow or suck in. And so basically at night when it cooled down, like, hey, it's down to 80 or down to 78, like, great, try and cool my fish room down. And then when it got hot, like, turn that off. Do not bring that heat back in.
I still do that at home.
Yeah?
Yeah, San Francisco, we don't have air conditioning. So for those few hot days we get, nighttime, open the window, put a fan in the window, blow in the cold air. Daytime, opposite, blow out. Yep.
Yeah, and you can, they're like $50 on Amazon. Who knows with tariffs now? They're probably $70 on Amazon now. But they have like the sensors built in, so it's automated.
That's cool. Yeah.
And I remember the ones, if you got the right ones, it would know like, in the morning you suck in and at night you blow out or whatever. And it was more efficient than just like, because in the fish room you'd have to go swap it and do things, and you're doing that. But I wanted to automate it because I had to travel, and I didn't want to like, you got to make sure you do this each day to my wife, and I just wanted to try and just streamline it. Yeah. Have I ever thought about co-streaming on Twitch? Thought about it, abandoned it. Each layer of complication that I add to it makes me more unlikely to do it. And what I mean by that is, I'm not a full-time content creator anymore. I am a CEO. I am a website guy. I am the forum moderator. I am the research and development part of products. I am
sales and marketing.
I oversee the retail store. There's all these hats that I got to swap. And if I only ever had to live stream, 100%, I'd have 6 more cameras. I would have way more stuff that you could do in interactive chat. I would be on way more platforms. And what I find is you have to spin up more and more customer service. So when we were on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram at the same time, I needed 3 times as many mods to make sure they can go onto that platform and ban bad actors. And so by sticking to one platform, we basically only need Candy and my wife and other volunteers, and it's easy mode. So it's a real bummer when you're live streaming on multiple platforms. You ban them on one, and they go, oh yeah, I'll go over here. And then you got to ban them there. And oh yeah, I'll go over here. And then you got to ban them. And it's just like, I'm spending more time trying to stop people from being dumb than I am putting on a good show and having a good time. So, and I do believe, like, yes, there is making money, and then there's, you got to have fun. And that starts getting to too much work. Oh no, we're having an outage over here. This thing's breaking. People are complaining. Instead, I just keep the hamsters on one track, and that is, hey, run the YouTube stream, hamsters, help me out. My wife says the hat I have to wear, I'm the dog butt scratcher. Yeah, I do have to do that.
That is a fun
Some
job.
people have kids. I have dogs. I have to scratch their butts.
Yeah.
Yep. What's a good carpeting plant for a 5-gallon? If it's low tech, not injecting CO2 and all that. My favorite to track down is Marsilia minuta. It's just a little plant. Takes forever to fill in. Also easy going. I wish all my tanks had it, but I would be 85 by the time that happens. I'd have to really buy a ton to get that done. Any word from others on using the magic small fish feed to breed and raise a colony of shell dwellers? I'm building out a new tank of Thymulus, and I plan to give it a try. Are you still doing multis, or do you get
I have multis. I've got gold ocellatus. The magic small fish feed is perfect for my shell dweller tank because the adults will eat it, and it is small enough to float around in the water column and make its way into the shells. So when the fry are super small, as I'm sure you know because you have Simulus, but they stay inside the shells, so they're safe and protected. And so you need whatever food that you're putting in a water column to kind of float around and somehow in the current make its way into the shells. And it's perfect for that. So yes.
Yeah, someone asked what the picture was that was above Zenzo, which normally you guys don't really get to see. Maybe you see it in videos sometimes. That is a painting that was done. I bought in Peru, and that type of housing is what is on the Amazon River. As in, yep, they're built on stilts and crude wood and all of that. And this painting that I can't remember, I think I bought it for like 200 or 250 US dollars, was going to feed this guy's family for like 6 to 8 months. And so, because he also would paint fish, and I just, yeah, I don't need a discus, yeah, I don't need an apisto. And every time we would go, like Dean would have it done and Randy would have it done, and that would take up a lot of the guy's time. And I always felt bad because I'd never buy anything. And I felt he had this way up there, and I want to say I bought it in 2018 or something like that. And I think it says painted in 16. Yeah. And it had like cobwebs and it was way up there. And I was like, I really want this memento to kind of remind me of like being in Peru and knowing that like when we went and saw the fish collectors and they lived and their homes float half the year and the other half they're kind of on stilts. It was kind of crazy. And then you can see the kind of power lines. Those power lines just go to the house and like, oh, that one's real low. You could like get electrocuted and then they float. It was kind of crazy. And so that was the memento I brought home, and we rolled it up and then we had it restretched to be able to hang it on a wall. And so now I just always have a piece of Peru with me that reminds me of like how cool that experience is to me. So
Gills to the Gardens wrote, "Oh my God, I didn't see Zenzo in the background."
He's hiding. He's hiding. You never see Zenzo in the background. He's always hiding.
Always watching.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, at the time I bought the picture, I didn't know it was going to feed his family, so it wasn't one of those like, I'm going to do this because it's a good thing. And then he told me, and I was like, oh, well, had I known that, like that's like a real good feel-good story on top of you're just actually gifted as an artist. And yeah, because I don't know, it's not that I don't like discus or apistos or some other fish. It just felt that feels different than like, but this is like an actual piece of art that they made or he made that, yeah, I don't know. Somehow this, and I'm not really an art guy, but for some reason that piece kept calling out to me like, oh, that thing is just so cool. And I didn't even want to ask because I was telling Dean, because Dean and Randy were getting pieces that are like this big, right? And I'm like, I don't even know how to get that home. And Dean's like, oh, don't worry. We'll get him to take it off the wood. We'll roll it up, and then we'll get it. And so it cost me like, I don't know, $200 to get it restretched on a thing. Like it ended up costing a lot of money, but I love it. And Dean's at Enabler, like, oh, we'll just get it done. And so yeah, we got it done. And now I have it, and I love it, and I enjoy it, and it's always on my wall to remind me. And I've got, on the wall, I've got pictures of trips with different people and different things, whether it's Peru or other places, and reminds like, oh yeah, I did that. And like on the space book, as my grandma would say, a reminder popped up from my fish room. I made a video, in my old fish room 9 years ago. There's so many things that I've done over the years that I kind of forget. Like, oh yeah, remember we went to Peru 4 times? Like, did we go that many times? Like, dang, okay, I guess we did. And so there's so much, because it's just every day is just wake up and do the best I can for the company. And like, oh yeah, you kind of actually map out what I've done. Like I've done a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of traveling, a lot of stuff. And if I don't have things to trigger the memory, I don't remember it because I don't have the time to sit back and go, what about things? I just go on to the next task. So that's right. Steven says, I'll take 1 art, please. Yeah, that's pretty much how I buy art. 1 art, please. That's about how much I appreciate art. I just don't know anything about art.
I think like, the fact that you were there and you saw the scenery and it spoke to you and you wanted that memory. Like, I think there's a lot to be said for that versus, other things.
Yeah,
right?
A random person on the street would be like, hey, that's kind of cool, but they wouldn't know like, no, that's on the Amazon River. No, I've been there. It was crazy. And then I think about, remember the rickety boards? So when the water level's down, I've told this story a couple times, but I haven't told in years. When the water level's down, there's all the stilts, and so the shore kind of comes down, right? Well, you start getting these long rickety boards that like go to a stump, and then another one, and then another one. And I was like on the 3rd board, and I'm watching people, and it's dipping way down, and real creaky, and I'm like, And sure enough, like on the third board, it snaps, and I
Oh, wow.
fall through it like 8 feet to the ground. Luckily, I don't get hurt. No one else gets hurt. But I was like, is it really gonna hold my weight? Because I'm barely watching it hold Randy's weight or Dean's weight going in front of me. And all the other ones had been fine, hadn't been a problem. We'd been in lots of different houses. I'm like, this one looks, and sure enough, like, whoa. And so, there's lots of memories like that. Like, yeah, I feel like I almost died there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also surrounded by the bodyguards at that point because we had just gone to like the fish market, and if you've got cameras, there could be people looking to steal them. And so like, it was a whole ordeal. But, and then also nearest hospital's like 2 or 3 days away. Like it ain't like, oh yeah, you fell and broke your ankle. Like, that's a
Right.
real big problem. You got to get back on the boat. We are real far away from getting any medical treatment. So, yeah, kind of fun one to remember. Can microworms and grindle worms be fed heavily like brine shrimp? They tend to sink in the bottom, and some people say yes, and some will say, like betta breeders say no. They usually get problems with finnage and other stuff. And so, depending on who you ask, yes. And then if you got gravel and stuff, probably not.
Yeah, you have to have like a lot of heavy bottom feeders or something.
Yeah, if it was like in one of the little floating, traps or something, yes, because you're containing it. If it's more just putting it in the tank, yeah, not so much. Yeah, some tips for keeping stem plants from melting at the base. I used to be able to grow Ludowigia and Microphyllum in thick forest-like batches in the background, and now they're seeming to melt. Usually you want to make sure they get enough light so they're not, being blocked by other stuff, and then enough nutrients. A plant that's new to your fish tank has to adjust. So, like in this tank, all these plants have been in there for months and months and months. If I put a new plant in, it's like, whoa, I'm adapting. The other ones are gobbling up all the fertilizer. It can make it even harder on the new plant. And so you might really want to put a bunch of extra fertilizer in, really baby the system, even though you're like, plants grow fine there. It's kind of like, maybe you and your coworkers worked at a job for the last 5 years. You know exactly what you're doing. You put the new person in, like, they don't know what they're doing. They need, like, hey, someone teach them the ropes here. And if you just don't teach them at all, like, it doesn't work. And so, same thing. Stem plants, make sure they get enough light, make sure there's plenty of nutrients going on, and they're not being all stolen by other plants that are already ready to rock and roll from day one. Yeah.
It's an Earl Campbell reference.
I don't know who that is.
Earl Campbell's running back for the Houston Oilers way back in the 70s. And he was known for being, okay, like, it was like the Jerome Bettis of the 70s. Like, run you over, huge legs. And I remember when we did was that 3 years ago when I jumped in the pond?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
For members. Yeah, if we got to 1,000 members, you would run and jump
It was
into the pond.
something like that. It was like,
It's a member video. If you keep scrolling back,
Yeah.
you will see Zenzo run into a freezing cold pond as fast as he could run. It was kind of hilarious. Yeah. Your football career, did you play pro?
semi-pro.
Semi-pro.
Yeah, it's basically like, I don't know, a step above.
Is it like, what,
Huh?
minor leagues for baseball? Like,
No,
No?
it's not as It would be like an arena football league, but outside, kind of that level.
all right.
So there were we had some players that played D1 ball. We had some players that were like former Division II college players, junior college players, star in high school, never made it kind of players, and then some random guy like me that's like, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. Creedmoor Aquatics says, for hire, Peruvian fish market bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Zenzo is. Zenzo.
Next time.
I joked when I hired him originally, like, yeah, you do all of these things I need you to do, and you're my bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Because Zenzo, what is it? Marine kickboxing champion or something?
So different things. So I
Okay.
grew up in the martial arts. I got my black belt
Uh-huh.
in a style called Tung Sudo. I fought as a kickboxer. I won a state title
Okay.
30 years ago,
Right. Yep.
and was also in the Marines. Yes.
Ah. So
Yes.
it wasn't championship wasn't won while you're in the Marines. Just you've done both of those things.
Actually, it was because I was in the Marine Corps Reserve,
That's
so
what I
I
thought.
wonder. But they were not connected.
Ah,
Yes, yeah, they
because I
weren't
was like, usually
connected.
I don't misremember too many
Yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah.
and I'm like,
Same
I'm
time frame.
misunderstanding it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
30 years ago this year. Man.
30 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
You're
Oh
old. Yeah.
God, dinosaur.
Zenzo's not even that much older than me, but I always. Are you the oldest person that works for us?
No,
No.
I won't say who is.
I now remember who is. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we actually have two people older than me.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Where are we at? We've got about 35 minutes left. Can salt be used to hatch brine shrimp? Wait, can the salt that's used to hatch brine shrimp can it cause diatom and black algae?
I don't.
I don't know that I could paint a direct correlation. Um,
Like you'd have to put a lot of.
One, you'd have to put a lot. You're right.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't think just minerals would, and then the ammonia from hatching out the brine shrimp eggs would either. So, could the nutrients fuel those? Yes, but so could any food
Anything.
or lots of stuff, really.
Any organics. I think it's such a small amount
Mm-hmm.
of salt water that you're putting in there,
Yeah,
right?
that's. I always like to have it help.
Yeah, little minerals.
Yeah, help the plants a little bit.
Yeah.
Planning a fish room, just going to do tabletop like Corey's fish room, a 10 by 15, no racks, maybe 420 longs and a 29 high. It's real nice to have them at one level because it's easy to start siphons, it's easy to work on them, and I think there's a lot of people in the chat be like, but you could put 7 times as many tanks. I'm not convinced maximizing every inch is the best way to go. Instead, maximizing for comfort and enjoyment goes so far.
And moving water.
Yeah.
Moving water out of low tanks, and it might look good when you first set it up, but when it's like month 4 and you got to get on your knees or whatever it's
Yep.
yeah.
What's the lowest pH neocardinia shrimp can live in? I don't know the exact lowest. I know at least like 6.4, 6.3. I don't know how much lower that becomes problematic after that because I haven't done it. I've only kept them like with crystals that are breeding down that low at 6.4, maybe 6.3, but not a whole lot more. When people visit, do you have them sign something or do you give them a token or memento? I don't have them sign anything. For a little while, I was taking a picture together and then printing it because I got this little photo 3D printer, not 3D, but photo printer. That I haven't had anybody visit in so long. I just had Ben, but before that, it had been quite a while. I think before Ben was also Ben, but Benete. But yeah, I need to get that back out here. I do enjoy, one of my movements, or not movements, but goals was to do more photography and print more pictures. Because I feel like as humans this day and age, we take 50 pictures a week and never look at them again, basically. Like, oh, this is a photo, I'm going to take it. And then it like lives in the cloud somewhere. And maybe you'll see it a long time ago, where if you print it, you might see it every day. And I did make the effort, and that's why I have little canvas prints on the wall. I need to do that more. My goal was to print more and just moments that I want to remember in my life, whether it was a talk, whether it was a friend, whether it was my dog, doesn't matter. Just print it, spend the $20 and be like, there it is. It's a physical thing that won't get lost in the cloud for the rest of my life. And so that is something that I want to do more of. I should bring it's sitting in my kitchen nook thing. I need to bring it out here to set it up and just print from my phone and go, there we go. And so you take a selfie with someone and then you hand them the physical picture. Like you always laugh at the one that I have of Mike Aquapros.
Yeah.
That was me starting to when people visit, let's
Yeah.
take the picture, and I'll remember hey, when you came over and we hung out, and I printed him one and I have one, and that's still on my to-do list. So I want to get back to that a little bit because
And technically, I'm not a visitor because as an employee of the company, and this is a part of the
Yeah.
this business is insured, so we don't need to
Yep.
have me sign anything.
I think they meant like sign like some like Eric Bodrock. You sign his door when you visit.
Oh, I see what you're
Like,
saying.
oh
Yeah,
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 you
yeah,
can see all
yeah.
the people that have come. I think
Yeah.
he was more speaking like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting Chuck Norris fact.
Oh.
So someone had commented on Tang Sudo was Chuck Norris's style. So Chuck Norris was in the military, learned Tang Sudo in Korea, brought it back to the U.S. He trained one of the peoples that he trained were the Ralph and Bob Allegria, the Allegria brothers in Los Angeles. They trained one of my instructors. So I am that close to Chuck Norris.
You're pretty much Chuck Norris at this point.
I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Wow. Didn't realize.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah, so we used to have like pictures of Chuck Norris with like my instructor and one of my instructors.
You like had in a locket and you had to wear it all the time.
Yeah, so kind of cool.
No, that is pretty cool
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, Shutterfly and Snapbooks are good for that. I feel like I'm the guy that'd go into a drawer and I wouldn't look at it. Like if I don't put it where I'm accidentally going to look at it, I just won't. I don't make the effort, so I have to make the effort right away, get it into a physical form, and then there's a chance I'll look at it. We do have a photo section on the forum, but we don't have like a dedicated, I'm going to call it camera forum, where it's like, how do I get better? What camera should I use? What lenses? What is ISO? What is aperture? What is
That'd be fun.
exposure? It needs, so
In my spare time.
yeah, in your spare time, the way the forum works now is everyone's got a great idea, right? And they want a thing. And I go, yeah, me too. But if we don't have someone really championing the idea, so like if we were going to do that camera one, who is it that's going to like spawn the conversation, answer the questions, teach people? And so like on the forum with the shrimp, we segregated that out, and Benete, who's a judge who travels the world, he oversees that and is answering questions and helping conversation. And we've got Kolu working on diseases. And so now I'm trying to go, great, I hear you. You want to do a thing? Let's get some real stuff going on there with someone who's got some skin in the game. Like, yeah, you're moderating this forum. Keep it alive. Keep it looking good. Stephen P's been working. He's a mod there, and he works all over the forum, but also is helping with plants. And so if we all go, wow, we really, really want photography, like, great. Let's get Chris Luke up doing
Chris would
it,
be a
or
good
let's
one.
get someone who goes, hey, I've got some time. Yep, I would offer some help. I would do these things, and then that makes sense. But just to spin off and be like, yep, there it is, and then no one uses it, like, well, yeah, that's what happens when there's no one there going, I got to make this a thing. So, yeah. Wait, I don't know if that's true. Fun fact: Zenzo can also sing.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
You can actually sing.
I mean, if I won the lottery,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I would, if I had like absolute like money to do whatever,
Sure.
I would have a recording studio,
Uh-huh.
and I would just look for talented singers and help fund them and like let them launch their careers. I'm like, yep, you can record my studio, you can use your equipment, I'll have a producer there, we'll get it out to the labels.
Yeah, but you yourself can hold a tune, basically?
I mean, I
Okay.
mean, so she's joking because
Yeah.
like during like meetings like with Randy or something, like
Uh-huh.
I'll sing something.
Sure.
But yeah, they've all heard me sing.
Okay, I haven't...
I used to be a little singing group back in the day too. back in the-
Okay, what...
little R&B
What
thing.
haven't you done? What haven't you done?
Well, like there was like the go-kart thing. Remember that one in Kentucky?
Yeah, so Zenzo's got this thing where if there's anything competitive, and
Oh, yeah.
Randy's super competitive, I'm super competitive, and Zenzo is competitive. And so we went to go do go-karts because we did this big like meeting, and it was lots of talk and business stuff. And then we spent a day like, kind of building some camaraderie. And so we get on these go-karts, and we're all racing, and Zenzo kicks our butt. And then at the end, he pulls out and he's like, "Oh, you didn't know that I am a go-kart champion? You had a trophy and what else? Like what?
No.
You were in a league? What is it? Tell the
So I used to race motorcycles, which a lot of people know.
yes.
And I took a break from motorcycle racing, and so I'm like, well, I still need to race something, so I went kart racing. And the picture that I have is from Road and Track magazine. They were doing a photo shoot, and one of my friends was a race car driver, and he was driving a cart, and we were doing this thing, and so I pulled up the photo from the magazine of like after we were done, after I lapped Randy, and he's well, something's wrong with my cart. I'm like, okay.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, me first time ever in a go-kart versus, oh yeah, I used to do that all of the time, and turns out I'm really good. Doesn't bring that before. And so then the joke started, because after that we did it was one of these places that you could
Axe throwing,
yeah, all that
bowling.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then we went to bowling, and we're like, watch, Zenzo's gonna pull out like, oh yeah, when I did the 3 perfect games in a row, like this picture, like after we're done bowling. And too often, as you've heard today, some of the like, well, yeah, I know that, I know jiu-jitsu, I know this. Oh yeah, I used to do that professionally. Oh, I did a little stint of that. Like everything you could think of, you're like, well, I used to be a chef.
It's like
I
Dean.
used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dean's got that trait too of
Yeah.
like, well, actually, I kind of did that. And like, man, I've done aquarium. Like, oh yeah, I've done Magic the Gathering, gaming, and aquariums. Like any of those, I am super deep. Like, yeah, I went 15 years straight on that. And you've just apparently done everything at
I just
2-year sprints.
I like to
of
do a
like,
lot
oh, yeah,
of
I
things.
beat that, and then I moved on. Like, oh, of
Yeah,
course
that
you
is,
did.
that is me. That is
Yeah.
I get deep in the mold.
Yeah. Do I have a hidden talent? I don't. I mean, my hidden talents are hidden to me. Like, apparently I'm pretty good in front of a camera. That was from a guy that was terrified to do public speaking in community college to now I got to do it all the time. Like,
One take Corey. That's what we call you.
I am one take Corey, yeah. I still hate getting in front of a live audience because there's
Really?
what could go wrong. I've
Never-
never had
never-
a big problem, but I'm just like, what could go wrong? The microphone could suck. Someone could heckle me.
But I feel like even then you just like, all right, well,
I would, and I would pivot,
Yeah.
but it still makes me uncomfortable. So
huh.
yeah, Zenzo is a ringer. That's right. Yeah.
I am hyper competitive, and so I'm very cognizant of that, and no one likes that around. So I very much try to play it down
Yeah,
or
no
not.
one likes having Zenzo around. Yeah.
So I try to not like care so much about some things so that I don't become annoying.
Yeah.
More annoying.
Yeah. Chuck Norris asked Zenzo to open jars. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Do I hear Corey wants hecklers at the Clash? Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. I would probably do okay. I'm more terrified that I would like say the wrong thing, or like you guys have seen it a couple times in live streams where someone gets under my skin and then I dwell on that for like a month of like I'm better than that. I shouldn't let that person get to me. I try to be nice, then I started getting angry, then I let the guy have it, then I ban him, and then I feel horrible for a month straight, and that affects me negatively. And it's like, oh, I don't want any of those kind of interactions, because I'll have that happen when I meet a fan, and sometimes I'll walk away and go, I could have done better. Why? I should have done this, should have done that. And so that's when you have 300 people in front of you, the odds are 300 times that you could have something go wrong, as opposed to one-on-one, or here's a pretty safe space in that, like, yeah, it's me and a camera. Oh, no, it's going wrong. Click, I'm done.
I feel like you're very good in front of people in groups. I've always been good at public speaking, and I also get very nervous and like apprehensive.
It's probably the perfectionist of like, yeah, but it's really, for me, I'm so afraid people are gonna be like, yeah, shouldn't have drove 4 hours. That was real dumb. Like,
I think one thing about speaking publicly or talking about something is if you're yourself and you're honest, like it's okay. Like, and if something happens and you kind of like make fun of you, someone heckles you, you're like, yeah, you're right. I do wear too tight t-shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's fine, right?
I mean, that's not heckling. That's just facts.
Well, yes, that's right. That's why I need to alter these Aquarium Co-op shirts.
Yeah. Just pull it in the back and like pull it to the side and tie a knot. in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, make it real tight.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, that is a hidden talent. My talent to be able to explain a deep topic in an understandable way, like that. Yeah, I didn't know growing up that like, no, I could teach you about mulm, and just like I never needed that skill, but apparently I do it pretty good because people are like, hey, you're good at that, and I'm like, oh, am I? I don't know.
You're great with analogies.
Yeah.
You're also very good at understanding multiple elements of business.
Yeah, let's do 20 more minutes of just telling me how good I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah. Let's see. Buddha has reached complete Zenzo.
You're you're
Oh man.
you're good at surrounding yourself with people that better your life or your business. Like, yeah, there's a lot of. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've inflated your ego enough. All right.
I mean, have we? I mean, I don't know. It's only about halfway there. Uh, what's the difference between parasalt and aquarium salt? What is parasalt?
I don't know.
Typo?
Parasalt?
Parasalt.
I mean, paracleanse, which is a
Marine
medication.
salt? Parasalt. Maybe they'll chime in with oh, it's supposed to be this, and then we go, oh yeah, it's a different.
Parasalt is a rock salt that improves pond water quality and helps fish heal their mucous membrane. It sounds like a
To me, that sounds like the exact same thing because you can say all of those buzzwords about normal salt also. So
yeah, it's just rock salt.
yeah. Corey's hidden talent, he's brought us all together. Maybe that
There
could
you
be
go.
YouTube's hidden talent. Yeah. I'm good at being a dog dad. Dang right I am.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good as dog mom, my wife. They definitely love her more. They want dad time too, but you know, if they had to eat one of us to survive, I'm getting eaten. For sure.
Someone says give him an insult to balance it out.
It was kind of scary when Zenzo was tossing swag into the crowd. Yeah. Zenzo was playing for keeps. If he could, you know, take someone's head off with one of those hats, he was trying for it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, please, can you send me 10 of your sponge filters? I've asked before, and I know you don't like shipping to the UK, but I'm happy to pay the postage and obviously happy to waive the warranty. I need someone in the company that, like, at the warehouse to be like, I'd like to do that. Because if I say yes, I'm just making someone like, what? I got to look up the codes to send it, and how much is it? And I got to talk to this person. So
Yeah, we've tried stuff so. We've actually tried shipping products, Aquarium Co-op products, to friends of Corey's out of the country,
yeah.
and they ended up back here in the U.S.
Even like all or not. Yeah.
6 months
they
later.
got shut down.
Yeah, and it's you had to like have the different. You had to like do the research to declare what you're shipping to the country.
Yep.
And it was an arduous process, and it still didn't work. Yeah.
And then you also have problems of like any like sponge filters might be okay. Any fertilizer, any food, anything with chemicals in it, like no. Where's the paperwork? Where's the permits you applied? Like I didn't apply for permits. So yeah, Pete, I want to. And if you were on the forum, this was your best shot. Dang it. Dean had posted, where should I go while I'm in the UK to visit fish stuff? And you should have been like, oh, buddy, come to my fish room or my fish store. And by the way, could you bring me 10 sponge filters? And he'd probably be like, yes. Because if I come to the UK, I can bring some stuff. I do bring stuff if I go to other countries, can't get it, if it's arranged ahead of time. But, you know, getting stuff to actually ship is way harder than like, I can shove some stuff in my suitcase and just hand it to somebody. So, yeah. Didn't Corey promise to post a picture of him back in the punk days? I don't know if I promised. I will, but I can't find it. Like, Photo Bucket deleted lots of pictures, so where I thought it wasn't. So I'd have to get, like, my actual family, like, dig through photos, and when you find it, let me take a picture of it, and I can share it with the internet.
Did I ever show you a picture of my old driver's license
I don't know.
with the long hair, the braids?
No. I know. I think I'd remember that. Yeah. I don't think I've seen that. Yeah. Can you keep discus in tap water? Yeah, you can. Well, it depends on your tap water, but I think a lot of people can, yes. It doesn't have to be only RO water. And then if you get like Stencard discs and you had hard water, they're more adapted to that. So, yeah.
My Chemical Romance, Corey.
What does that have to do? What?
My Chemical Romance,
Yeah.
like the music group.
Uh-huh.
They're just your look, I guess.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
I see.
yeah,
Yeah. I understand now. I was like, what is that? Oh, yeah. Okay. I was punk enough to be like, Chemical Romance isn't punk. That's emo. Anyway, how Corey's always stressing the customer service is everything. Roy Woods Jr. new comedy special, Lonely Flowers, spends a lot of time on the topic.
He's funny too.
All right.
Yeah, he's a clean funny
My wife can
too.
put that on the
Yeah.
list. I'll watch the trailer and be like, nope, not watching it. I got to be in the mood because I'm almost always working while watching something. There's very few shows that actually put everything down. Like Ted Lasso was one, but most shows I'm passively consuming because I got too much work I got to do. But yeah. How many lives has Zenzo lived? 307. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost lost it too.
Now I'm gonna have to hear about that after I read this. Found your page recently. I look forward to using your 60-day season tank method and growing my knowledge in the community. Thank you for breaking down the information. Well, least I could do. Is there a story to tell about how you almost lost your life?
Oh, I had to get a helicopter ride to the hospital.
All right.
Yeah, so it was before I was
You were
racing
sparring Chuck Norris.
before I was racing motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like legit on sanctioned, events. I was street racing,
Uh-huh.
and I had a brand new
Sounds illegal.
1996 GSXR 750,
Uh-huh.
and we would race in the hills in California, and I was winning the race to the bridge,
Okay.
and ended up low siding and crashing at about 70 miles an hour.
Hold on. We have people that aren't motorcycle nerds.
Okay.
What a low siding?
So low side, there's basically two
Sounds
ways.
like pseudotrophius low side, like a
That's right.
cichlid. But,
There's basically two ways to crash a motorcycle. One way is you low side, which is you're going around and then you just kind of it falls down and you slide. That's on the low side. And then the high side is when you're going around and the back tire
and you
slips,
flop off.
catches traction, and flips up the high side, which is
Okay.
usually worse.
Yeah.
So sliding on the ground, everything's fine, about 70 miles an hour. Hit a curb, bounce off the curb, hit a telephone pole. The bike wraps like a banana around the telephone pole. I hit it, bounce off.
Because you're Chuck Norris, you bounced
Instant
off. Yeah.
pain. And long story short, it's mountain road. The helicopter couldn't land, so the ambulance had to come, take me like 800 yards to where the helicopter landed, fly to the hospital. Lost my spleen. It ruptured in 6 pieces and was bleeding
Do
internally.
people need
and-
a spleen?
Well, I've been
Clearly
living
not.
for 30 years without one.
Yeah, okay.
Basically a spleen is like it stores white blood cells, like battery backup for your immune system. Is that a photo?
Oh, a real
Oh
old
no.
photo.
You have to practice your Super Saiyan phase. You're not going to know what that means, but everyone else will.
Wow, that's way old.
Dorcula came in and
Yeah.
That mom found out that she was doing stuff.
Dang. So my wife's mom was moving and found an old picture. I don't even remember having this hair. But you see my wife and myself way back in my Pretty Woman days where I'm judged trying to buy Katie Christmas presents and stuff, and I couldn't get any help like buying a watch. I'll try to get it to focus on this picture.
oh god.
Print it.
It's printed as well, so like, do it the way you will. And we're blocking out the other people in the family that are supposed to be in that picture because they might have consent to being on the internet. So be ready for this gem. Man, this is
I don't
good.
think Zenzo's ever seen it.
I'm waiting for it to.
Yeah, look at that. Super Saiyan bright yellow hair. My wife, I think in that picture, I don't even have my nose ring. I used to have my lip pierced, nose pierced, eyebrow pierced. My wife had,
Maybe septum.
yeah, well, yeah, I meant septum, not nose, but yeah. So, oh, it's focusing on,
She hit her palm in the
yeah, there you go. There's us at, what am I, like 21 or 20? It's gotta be like 20 years ago, easy.
Yeah, because that was before. Yeah, you're probably like maybe 22.
But somewhere like my mom will have like I've had pink mohawks and other stuff, and
Yeah, 'cause she
before I
was
ever met
natural.
my wife or anything. So, Yeah. There's reactions to like, oh wow, to oh god, to I love it, to
I'm still
who is
waiting
this
for it to
guy?
pop up on the.
Oh, that was yeah. You had to use manic panic if you were dyeing your hair. Yeah,
All right, so there you go.
my wife from the vault. Yeah,
I feel like I need to pull up my
you could
dreads.
just hand him the picture, and then he could know what he's dealing with. Get a genuine Zenzo laugh in there. Yeah.
Be prepared.
That's a genuine Zenzo laugh right there. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna save that. That's a
Oh.
gem. Yeah.
So here, I'm gonna come over there and show you this photo. This was my actual driver's license photo.
Mm. Dang. Get the beads too. All right. Can I show this?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
get
yeah.
the-
You can show it.
Here's Zenzo. How old are you in this picture, Zenzo?
18.
18 in 1992. Yep. Got the beads.
All right.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, we're deep in the.
Yeah, we're deep in the mold
again.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You never know what you're gonna see. Now we're gonna put Randy on blast and be like, "Where's your 20-year-old pictures, Randy?" It'll probably. I'm trying to think of something that'll be completely opposite of us. It'll be like, I don't know. Randy will look like a 60-year-old man or something at the age of 20. Like what? Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
gosh. See what you get? You know.
Do
almost-
piercings or hair color at all affect your hiring process? No. Nope. We have had different policies over the years. But for the most part, no.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't have any policy. The only policy that we have is it just has to be public friendly. So like even like tattoos, like, we do have a tattoo policy. And you can have tattoos. I have tattoos, but they can't be anything that's like hateful or anything like
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
I don't have any tattoos.
not yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm only 41, I guess. But
Uh-huh.
my big thing
2
was
million subscribers.
yeah, I have no problem with people having piercings, tattoos, colored hair. I just don't want it to look bad. And you're like, what does that mean, Corey? And it's like, for me, when I was dyeing my hair, it's like, well, you let it grow out, it fades a ton. There's a big difference between like, hey, that hair's been colored well, even if it's green. And if you've ever dyed your hair green, which so few people have, if you have, you basically know you get 2 weeks of really cool looking green hair and 8 months of terrible looking green hair because it washes out and fades so hard. And it's uneven and it's blotchy and it's like, yeah, that just kind of looks unkempt and bad. So, but no, I mean, being that I was that person that, couldn't buy a watch for my girlfriend at the time for Christmas. It was a $140 watch. And I was at the Bon Marché and I could not get the time from anybody because I looked like I shouldn't have been there. And it was irritating. It was my pretty woman moment, and I was like, "Yeah, that's real dumb to be judging people that way." And I've carried that forward in my life of like, it's real dumb to be judging people, based on their appearance. So, it's. I have the same opinion. Like, hey, you should probably take a shower and not smell, and we got to deal with the public. Let's make some effort to not be a complete mess, for the sake of your coworkers and yourself. And your customers. So yeah, it really is kempt versus. I have the same problem of like, maybe we should comb our hair. Like, yeah, maybe we put some effort in. We don't show up with like, did you eat tacos and you rolled them all over your shirt before you came to work? Like maybe, and to back that up, it's like, yep, we give out shirts and we supply stuff to try and make it easier on everybody. So. Yeah, how did I meet Dorkula? I met her on the internet, on hotornot.com. If you're old school enough to know that. Yeah. And then Perfect Marriage. How long have we been together? Well, if I was 21-ish,
Over 20.
yeah, it's like we've been together like 20 years at this point, or it might be 19 or 20. Been married for, I don't know. My wife is going to correct me on all of these because she's that. It's been 19 years, 6 months, and 27 days. You fool! Like I don't know. I will never know that. But a long time. Yeah, I think this year when I turn 42, I think what she tells me is I will have been with her more than I haven't been with her in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Today, this year is the year in which I will have been with her more than not, which is crazy to think about because as everyone's life, like it moves so fast, you're like, but we haven't been together that long, have we? Like, turns out, yes, we have. So
Time flies.
yeah, time does fly, especially when you're running a business. Let me tell you. If you look at my first video, it's like, yeah, Corey didn't have any gray hair. Like in 10 years, I aged 30 years in 10 years, real fast. Baby face in the beginning videos to like, whoa, that guy has seen some stress in the last 10 years. Let me tell you. Yeah. You spit your milk out when you saw Hot or Not? That's right. Cool enough to do what? Internet dating before internet dating. Like everybody for sure would have been like, "Oh, you met someone online?" Okay. Yeah, like back then, like okay.
It's like the number one way people meet each other now.
Yeah, now it's a normal thing,
Yeah.
But you know,
Back then it was like coworker or
So
Yeah.
I would not have thought that it would have like that's where I'm gonna meet my wife. Turns out, yeah, that is where I met my wife. So yeah, I do know like people would ask me earlier in the relationship, like say 5 years, like where'd you meet your girlfriend?
You make it up.
Online. You wouldn't be like, oh, hotordot.com. Yeah, now it's so comical and funny because you're like, yeah, make fun of me. Yeah, we've been together 21 years. What
Right.
you got? What you got on that?
Right.
I'm only 41. We got 21 years. That's something to be proud of. So, yeah. All right. We got to handle a few more questions here. We got to eat dinner, and then we have to do the next.
Then we have to go to work.
phase, the next phase of job. Yeah, I mean, I'm always at work, but it's the next.
Yeah.
There's time blocks. Yeah, you're live streaming from now to now, and then you're doing this from then to then. And I don't even get to monetize this. I have to give away all my childhood secrets, and I don't even get to monetize. So, thanks for being members. Thanks for buying our stuff. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for spreading the word. All those kind of good things. So, started dating my wife when I was 15 in high school. I'm not as good as you. Turns out we had gone to some concerts, to the same concerts, but we didn't know each other like growing up. So there was that. We had chances, had to meet online instead of in person. Who knew?
Trying to convince a guy online to ship me fish from Georgia.
Yeah.
He's got the good stuff. Should I just hit them with the name your price?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I believe the answer is yes. So, like Benete's he showed me a picture of some Neos I want, Neocardinia, like cherry shrimp variety. And I told him it is worth any price to me. And then he's like, yeah, but they'd be expensive. And I'm like, yeah, I'd probably pay at least $1,000 to $2,000. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, yes, because I would get them into America. I would breed them. They'd be good on YouTube. Same thing. Like I know Planted Goldies talked about selling stuff to stores. And so the any price, name it, sometimes it's totally reasonable where they're like, I have this happen a lot. Like I remember the fire people for the suppression system.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's going to be expensive. We're going to have to get an electrician. We're going to have to do things. We're like, and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be like 50 grand.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, 5 grand. We're like, tomorrow,
Right.
do it. Like, you know how much money we're losing every day we can't be open? Please take our money now. And then they took our money and then waited 2
And then it
months to
took
do
forever.
anything. Yeah, so it was terrible. But
At least they did the work, unlike the first guy.
yeah, so they name your price to the person in Georgia, they might be like, yeah, they're $6 each, or $16, or $600. You don't know, but I do believe, like, someone who's been working with a fish for maybe 5-10 years and they've made it something truly better, you're buying their time. And so I usually want I want to buy that time of like, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
'cause they
30
did the
bucks
work.
each, but these are so good, and it will amplify your time in breeding them. Or yeah, so he's got a super rare Cory. Yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of money on some fish before, and my goal is to. It depends, like, let's say you get one. Let's say you spend $1,000 on these Corys, which you're going, I'm not spending that. But let's say you did, right? It's $1,000, and let's say these Corys give birth to 50 fry, right? 50 of them. You raise those up, and now you sell them to other hobbyists at 20 bucks each. You have now broken even in one spawn, 50 fry, 20 bucks each. And that's why I'm always like, if you can spawn fish, I'm pretty much willing to spend any amount of money. And I've had it where you spend $1,000, they all die. And you go, dang it. But then you get the next group, you spent $1,000, they made 50, you sold them. Then they make 50, you sell them. Then you make 50, you sell them. Now you're up $1,000. Like, in aggregate, over years, I come out okay. And so, I don't know. For me, and I've always done this in my life, some people like to go out and party and drink, and they'll spend 80 or 100 bucks on drinks. I look at that going, I could buy 2 fish at 50 bucks each, and they're going to live with me. I will do that every week compared to going out. And so it purely depends on, what is it worth to you? Some people, fish are only worth $2. To me, like my dogs, they're probably worth $500,000. Like if you said, dogs are crazy rare, you could never have them, the amount of unconditional love, if I had that kind of money, I would buy dogs. The fact that I can go adopt one for like 200 bucks and then just take care of it is an amazing bargain. The fact that you might get this Corridora and he's going, hey, they're 50 bucks each. And you go, I'll take 8 and it's 400 bucks is a bargain compared to the flight to Peru to go and collect them, for instance. So, yeah, I would say, what's your price? And then I would go, ooh, okay, maybe that price is high. Like, how about if I buy 10? You got a slightly better price? Let me think on it. And some of them are pretty expensive. Like Eric Bodrock makes some. Who's the guy that breeds Corridoras that we had on our thing? Not
Eric Thomas?
No. I want to say, because he was doing some of the Skeller stacks. I can see him.
Yes.
But I can't name him.
If you go to one of the member talks.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even if, some of those are 120, 150 bucks a fish, usually at scale you can get your money back out. And so, I kind of look at it like you're going to waste your money on something this year anyway. What's that?
McClure? Rob McClure?
Yeah, Rob McClure, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to waste your money on something. Is it Starbucks? Is it eating out? Is it partying? Is it a new car part? Is it a new aquarium? Is it a membership here? You're going to spend some money if you have it. If you've got the money, now you just got to decide, are these fish worth more than the other hobbies you like? If the answer is yes, you do it. If the answer is no, you don't do it. And for me, the answer, because I have very few hobbies in my life, like Magic the Gathering, then online gaming, then fish, the answer for me is pretty much always yes. My hobby is fish. I'm into it. I'm kind of willing to pay any amount of money. A good example of this would be my Fly River Turtle, one with paperwork. I was entertaining one at $35,000. I was entertaining one at $15,000. Neither of them could produce the paperwork that they were legal. I ended up buying one for $2,750. And so, those are giant numbers, by the way. But searching for years and years and years, it would be worth it to me, knowing that I'm going to keep this animal for a long time. So, that's the most passionate way I can tell you. If it's an animal that you can breed and you want it, buy it, share it with the people around you. The only thing I really try to convince people is, if they're 150 bucks and you buy them and you breed them, I'm big on paying it forward and going, great, make them 30 bucks a piece to the next people. And when those people get them for 30 bucks, great, make them 15 bucks. And pretty soon everybody can have this Corridor at 10 bucks a piece, and we all get to do it. And that's what I did with Vienna guppies. It's what I would do with this Indonesian fish that I get them to breed. It's what I do when I buy stuff and I have Dean breed it. My goal is, you can always make money on fish pretty much if you're a good salesman. Let's make it affordable to as many people as possible, because we're all lucky to even be able to keep any of these fish in captivity. So the fact that you know, we don't want to try and gatekeep. And like Rob McClure, I'm not putting him on blast. It could be that he did pay the $1,000. He did go and collect them in Peru, and he goes, hey, I got to get 120 bucks to break even, and then I'll go collect them from here. And so the goal is that each step down the chain, eventually they'll just be in every pet store and everybody can enjoy them. So the fact that you'd be willing to spend big money means that other people will want them too. And hopefully someday the version of you that is here right now gets to buy them for $10 at a store. And that's awesome. So yeah. All right. It's 5 minutes after. I'm done with my animals are worth any price rant. Because it's magical that we even get to keep animals. So, you know, do the best you can, buy what you want to buy, and share with others. That's why we're all here, to share. Yeah. Anything
All
to
right.
add?
Not to that, just it's fun hanging out. Great to hang out with everyone and read the chat and answer some questions. And yeah, the last thing I got to say is for Dorkula.
Inside joke, hilarious. Yes. Shrimp Sanctuary says, YOLO, you only live once. And the Cory they were talking about was a $100 Fireball Cory. I also looked at those. I think they were sold out. You should buy them. Otherwise, I could be tempted to buy them. And yeah, if you're going to buy them, go through the Steenfod Aquatics link. I think you get a little bit of a discount, and he makes some money. So now, then you get like a double, like, oh, I'm going to pay expensive for these Corys. Bob's going to make some money. And then you breed them, and then you get on the forum, and when you make them, you remember Cory wanted some, and then you sell them to me for $50 a piece, and like, hey, I'll take a group of 8 of those, and now you've made back some of your money. And then the world goes round. Or maybe we trade. Maybe I got something you want. Who knows? Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the membership. Casey donated a membership. Thanks to all the new people. We'll see you in this week's episode of Deep in the Mulm if you're into the membership thing. If not, we'll see you next week. I got to film a video at some point, and maybe you'll see us lurking around.